same old place we call Sweet Home Chicago. Well, come on, baby, baby, don't you wanna go? I said, come on, baby, baby, don't you wanna go? Back to the same old place we call Sweet Home Chicago.
Remember how long you have procrastinated and how consistently you have failed to put to good use your suspended sentence from the gods. It is about time you realize the nature of the universe of which you are a part and of the power that rules it, to which your part owes its existence. Your days are numbered. Use them to throw open the windows of your soul to the sun. If you do not, the sun will soon set, and you with it. Now, please arise as you're willing and able, body and spirit, as we sing our opening hymn for this morning, When the Spirit Says Do.
Welcome to the Unitarian Church of Baton Rouge, where we have one volunteer who's going to try and keep all of these mics from feeding back. My name is Nathan. I'm one of your ministers. I'm pleased to welcome you today. Online people, I'm sorry we're not going to be looking at you during the talking part, because I have to look either here or there, and the only way you can see the band is, anyway. Glad that you were with us. A few things. One of the 30 mics is hot, Robin, but I have no idea which one it is. Is that better? Good. Anyway, welcome to the Unitarian Church. A few announcements for you to know. One is we are doing a book study on the UUA's Common Read, Repentance and Repair, and there are still 5 spots left. So if you would like to be a part of this book study group, email me, email Reverend Chris. We'll get you in touch with the right people. Also, this Tuesday at noon, Together Baton Rouge is having their leaders luncheon. So you as a member or visitor of this church are a leader here. So you are welcome to attend it. It's at St. Mark's Methodist at noon this Tuesday. And during middle hour, online people, if you are local, you can still come in for middle hour. Otherwise, just chat with each other on the YouTube chat. But middle hour, we have the reproductive rights, social justice sub-team in room 7. We are finishing up the intro to our church in room 6. That is not cumulative. So if you wanted to know more about the church, either as a member or as a visitor, you are welcome to attend that. Gosh, I think that's it. In case you have not caught on, this is our annual blues service. So I had written down to introduce all of the band. I'm not going to do that because I'm going to mess up all of the names, and we don't have time. So we're going to go forward with the lesson. I can't get it unstuck.
Thank you. In the afterlife, you are judged not against other people, but against yourself. Specifically, you are judged against what you could have been. So the afterworld is much like the present world, but it now includes all the yous that could have been. In an elevator, you might meet a more successful version of yourself. Perhaps the you that chose to leave your hometown 3 years earlier, or the you who happened to board an airplane next to a company president who then hired you. As you meet these yous, you experience a pride of the sort you feel for a successful cousin. Although the accomplishments don't directly belong to you, it somehow feels close. But soon you fall victim to intimidation. These yous are not really you. They're better than you. They made smarter choices, worked harder, invested the extra effort into pushing on closed doors. These doors eventually broke open for them and allowed their lives to splash out in colorful new directions. Such success cannot be explained away by a better generic hand. Instead, they played your cards better. In their parallel lives, they made better decisions, avoided moral lapses, did not give up on love so easily. They worked harder than you did to correct their mistakes, and they apologized more often. Eventually, you cannot stand hanging around the better yous. You discover you've never felt so competitive with anyone in your life. You try to mingle with the lesser yous, but that doesn't assuage the sting. In truth, you have little sympathy for these less significant yous, and more than a little haughtiness about their indolence. If you had quit watching TV and gotten off the couch, you wouldn't be in this situation, you tell them. When you bother to interact with them at all, that is. But the better yous are always in your face in the afterlife. In the bookstore, you'll see one of them arm in arm with an affectionate woman whom you let slip away. Another you is browsing the shelves, running his fingers over the book he actually finished writing. And you look at this one jogging outside, and he's got a much better body than yours, thanks to a consistency at the gym that you never kept up. Eventually, you sink into a defensive posture, seeking reasons why you would not want to be so well-behaved and virtuous in any case. You grudgingly befriend some of the lesser yous and go drinking with them. Even at the bar, you see the better yous buying rounds for their friends, celebrating their latest good choice. And thus, your punishment is cleverly and automatically regulated in the afterlife. The more you fall short of your potential, the more of these annoying selves you are forced to deal with. Bring me a little in a while. Bring it in a bucket, Sylvie. Bring it in a bucket now. Bring it in a bucket, Sylvie. Every little once in a while.
Sylvie come running, bucket in her hand. She will bring a little water fast as she can.
Bring a little water, Sylvie. Bring a little water now. Bring a little water, Sylvie. Every little once in a while.
Right.
Can't you see me coming? Can't you see me now?
Right.
I will bring a little water every little once in a while.
All right, Rover.
Bring a little water, Sylvie. Bring a little water now. Bring a little water, Sylvie. Every little once in a while. Bring a little,
Ooh, Sylvie.
bring a little,
Ooh, now.
bring a little.
Ooh, Sylvie.
Every little once in a while. Bring a little,
Ooh, Sylvie.
bring a little,
Ooh, now.
bring a little.
Ooh, Sylvie.
Every little once in a while.
So actually, I'm going to ask us to ground ourselves a little and invite you into a moment of prayer and reflection. The God that we know when we see love and justice and hope and kindness, whatever that mystery is that holds us together, be with us on this day. And help us to be thankful for our life, thankful for those who are brave enough to take their pain and suffering and turn it into art and into music and into blues. Help us to be thankful for this world that is not perfect, is not ready for us. Help us to deal with our grief so that we cannot do more harm but make the world better. Help us to hold every trans child who may be bullied more because of what our legislature is about to do. Help us hold everyone who is worried about this planet and what we are doing to it. Hold all those who are longing for peace in Gaza, in Israel, in Ukraine, in the hundreds of other countries that go unnamed because they don't make it to the news. Help us see an end to violence in this state, in this country. Help us to provide for the poor, for those who need it. Help us to not hoard our wealth, and help us to make the world better because we are here. Amen. We have cards to sign over in the reception area over by the kitchen. We have one for Kathy Judy, who's a member who is recovering from surgery. And the rest are actually, Leslie, if you could go to the stones. First, we have the announcement of a birth of a grandson. This is Liz Hamlin's new grandson, Hank McFadden Hamlin, so we place a stone for him. And we also have a death of a mother of a church member. On Lundy Gras, Mike Cavell's mom, Rita Burgeon Cavell, she died, and so we place a stone for her. And also, because this is the blues, this is someone who has no affiliation with the congregation, but one of the pillars of the blues community in Baton Rouge, Joe Monk, died recently, and so we place a stone for him in honor of this day. This ritual we have is open to everybody, visitor and member alike. Online, type your stone right into the chat. We invite those who wish to come forward either along the west or the east wall. Take a stone, let it represent whatever's on your heart, whatever's on your mind. Place it in the chalice bowl. Be a little more at peace, a little more together. We invite those who wish to come forward as we place stones. And we say together, with hope to make this a better world, we light this flame. Its light is the symbol of the power of love.
Without the death of stars, there could be no planets and no life. Without the death of creatures, there could be no evolution. Without the death of elders, there would be no room for children. Without the death of fetal cells, we would all be spheres. Without the death of plants and animals, there would be no food. Without the death of old ways of thinking, there would be no room for new. Without death, there would be no ancestors. Without death, time would not be precious. What then are the gifts of death? The gifts of death are Mars and Mercury, Saturn and Earth. The gifts of death are the atoms of stardust within our bodies. The gifts of death are the splendors of shape and form and color. The gifts of death are diversity, the immense journey of life. The gifts of death are food, the sustenance of life. The gifts of death are seeing, hearing, feeling, deeply feeling. The gifts of death are the urgency to act, the desire to fully be and become. The gifts of death are lives that are the gifts of death are the lives that are fully and exuberantly lived, then graciously and gratefully given up for now and evermore.
You don't. I'm looking up. I hope you're looking down. It's been 2 years since you left, and I'm just coming back around. I used to blame God for taking you so young. Heaven must have needed you more than us. Shine your love on down. I could use it to find my way around. We can use a little guiding light to get me through the cold dark night. So shine your love on down. I'm looking down. I know you're looking up. Heaven's been great and all, but I sure miss your love. I can see you missing me, and I'm sorry that I'm gone. It was time to take my spirit home, but don't you worry, 'cause I'll shine my love on down. You can use it to find your way around. We can use a little shining light to get us through the cold dark night. So shine your love on down. Someday we'll walk hand in hand through the streets of the promised land. Oh, what a moment that'll be. It to find our way around. We can use a little guiding light to get us through the dark night. So shine your love on down.
That first reading was, it may have been painful for some of you, I'm not sure. The reading was by Reverend Michael Dowd, who came and spoke at this church last March? I guess it was March. We'll say it was March. But anyway, he had a sudden death over the summer or maybe into the fall. And I chose that reading because when I was in my sort of early developmental stages of figuring out death, that reading helped me understand death more than almost any other, which is essentially the idea that there are atoms that have existed since the beginning of time, and they've made up planets and stars and all sorts of stuff, and right now those atoms are in your body, making up you. And later on, they'll make up other things. So I wanted to, even though it may have been painful for those who had a connection with him, I did want to bring that in here. The blues is art built out of despair and of hopelessness and loss. And it makes perfect sense the blues were born here in Louisiana. Online people and those who have a pulpit blocking you, the chair of our worship guild is from Mississippi. She said correct. The Mississippi Delta, to which she then says, not on mic, home of the blues. All right, so also online people, our Minister of Congregational Life is naming Louisiana blues musicians who have claimed Louisiana is the home of the blues, and our Mississippi Worship Guild member is also retorting with Mississippi. Anyway,
You got Zydeco?
she said we have Zydeco. All right, okay. It makes sense that the blues would have happened generally around here. Because of some combination of the soil and because of the enslavement and the liberation that happened here, and the responses that are perpetual responses to trauma that are both brought on this region from nature and by human causes. And every other thing, but the gut reaction where we currently live is when you see tragedy, to make art out of it. And today I'd like for us to look at death through that same lens. Because we're in the second week of Lent, today we are going to continue our process of talking about death. For those who are sick of hearing about it, there's a lot of music, and if you don't listen to the lyrics or the way it feels, you can have a death-free service today. But we're going to continue sort of going to the spiritual gym this whole month and it's still February, all of next month, as we get ready, as we do some of the harder spiritual work. And today it's more about the gifts of the blues and the gifts of death. I know in our culture we're supposed to think of death as all negative and all bad and all awful. And while there is pain involved, that is not the whole story. Our larger culture tells you to try to not feel, to get over it, to move on. But the blues and this church, we do not continue that gaslighting. We tell you to I am telling you, pay attention to and acknowledge the things that are difficult. Partially because ignoring them won't make them go away. It usually just lets them fester. But also because when we see them, then art and music and blues and God can come through. The inspiration for the theme of today's service, the text portion at least, is a pattern that I am seeing in this church. And in part 2, I will explain why I think I'm seeing it. And there are enough people doing this in this church that it is not about an individual leader. So it's not about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people doing it. This is a pattern I see among almost all of the leaders in this church, and I think it points to something in our larger culture. So I just want to clarify right now for everyone. Am I talking about a person? No. Am I talking about many persons? I'm not talking about actually any individual. I'm talking more the aggregate thing that I'm seeing among all of us. When Reverend Chris got here a year and a half ago, 2022, it's weird, right? Yeah. When he got here, he saw me frantically dog paddling to try to keep this church going. One of his major points of emphasis that he's had is how we need to have more sustainable methods of doing church. And he didn't just see me doing that dog paddling. He saw leader after leader after leader pushing hard and fast as if there was a crisis everywhere. Until I went away on sabbatical, until I took a break in my patterns of behavior, I could not see it. I think it has to do something with legacy and also something with learned patterns. Because one of the things we think about when we think about death is we think about legacy. In an attempt to identify this pattern, this thing that Reverend Chris was seeing as someone who is coming in from the outside, I asked some leaders each to think. So I'm going to ask you the same question. When, after the shutdowns, did you know that this church would be okay? Or, after the shutdowns, when were you sure this church wouldn't collapse on itself, or dissolve, or go away completely? So remember, we shut down in March of 2020. Our first full-time interim left in June of 2020. Our second full-time interim started in August of 2020. You called me in November of 2020. Then in June of 2021, we tried reopening. At that time, we did these bite-sized services that everyone didn't like. They were like 20 minutes long. We also had no singing because we were just testing out being back together. 5 weeks into that reopening in 2021, Delta hit and we shut down again. Then we reopened again in October of 2021, and we met in person without singing again until Christmas Eve of 2021. That was when Omicron came. Then instead of shutting down, we just shut down inside worship, and we just did worship outside. That was the coldest 2 months of my entire life. There was one Sunday only the board showed up to worship. And the wind was actually so strong once, we had music stands because we didn't bring a pulpit outside. It would blow the music stands over and it almost took out our ministerial intern. I mean, but we started worshiping outside for January and February. And then around Mardi Gras of 22, we decided to meet in person again back inside for good. You installed me in April of 22. In the summer of 22, we added back nursery care, and that is when Reverend Chris joined us. See, I have it written down because I had to actually do the math, but I couldn't remember which year. We installed him in April of 23, so that is about 10 months ago. I give you all of this timeline to ask you to think about during this next piece of music. When you knew this church would be okay, visitors and people who joined after the shutdowns, just stick with us for this. It'll bring up a larger point later. But for those who were here since before times, when did you identify and know this church would be okay? Okay, so transition into offering, which I did not script in here again. Here are the two things I would like for you to know. And the first is maybe the most awkward thing I have ever said, but it has never happened before in the history of the world, which is your minister emeritus, the former senior minister of this church, is running for school board. He is running for school board in District 8. There has never been a minister in a Unitarian Universalist church who served for 36 years who retired and then decided to run for public office. So none of us know how to do this. I believe the election is in a week or two, so I just want to name, Steve and I have been in conversation about what his relationship could and should be with the church. Where we have come to is he is a candidate for public office, and this is nothing about his policy or anything. This is just the bizarre logistics of a minister emeritus running for public office. So he is, we are treating him like a candidate. You as members are welcome to interact with a candidate in any way that you would like. But this church he's not asked this, but this church cannot endorse nor ask you to have any relationship with that candidate. Does that make sense? So I just wanted to name it to kind of get it out there, because early voting had started and people were in District 8 would say, is there another Steve Crump? When they saw the ballot. So yes, that is the Steve Crump. The other thing for you to know is the generosity team, the same team that brought you the Death Cafe, that's had 50 people showing up to talk about death, which I never thought would happen in any church, but is happening here. They are also launching a legacy giving campaign, which is not only for people who are rich. The goal is for every member of this church to have a will, period. And those who would like to put the church in their will to do that as well. We're not telling you need to. It would set this church up for generations if you did. There's also weird rich people like will inheritance tricks that I don't understand, but they exist. So I think the debate is whether you give the money to the government or us. I don't understand all of that. But the point is, there's conversations about asking people to consider putting this church in their will. And the last thing we're going to do for the offering is this month. This is the last. All right, here's the problem. This is a short month, even though it's leap year, so we only have 4 Sundays. We're going to share the offering with Blue, Black Lives of Unity. Look at that. Did you see me click right as that was outstanding. This is Black Lives of Unitarian Universalism. We intentionally did chose this organization during the month of February because of Black History Month. These are Black Unitarian Universalists from all over the country who have gathered together an organization that supports each other and supports Unitarian Universalism so that, let's do this. Online people, just wait for a second. We're going to do this. Notice that we're a very white congregation. Go look around, it's okay. We are one of the blackest UU churches in the country. This church whoa, it got quiet in here. It's Mike has how many, he's visited 40 UU churches. Per capita, because of how black the city is, we're probably lower in percentage than most UU churches. However, Unitarian Universalism has a long and sordid history of being an integrated faith. And this is one organization that is not working to fix it, it's working to support the people who are Unitarian Universalists and have had both good times and hard times being black and Unitarian Universalist. So that is what this organization is for. Does that make sense? Good, because I don't think I could explain it a different way. So with that, I will, and I don't know who needs to come up to do all of the bluesy stuff, but with that, I will ask you to give very generously as this morning's offering is given and received.
Some evenings, after days when the world feels like it has poured all of its despair onto me, when I am awash with burdens that rest atop my body like a burlap of jostling shadows, I find a place to watch the sunset. I dig my feet into a soil that has rebirthed itself 1,000,000 times over. I listen to the sound of leaves as they decide whether or not it is time to descend from their branches. It is hard to describe the comfort one feels in sitting with something you trust will always be there, something you can count on to remain familiar when all else seems awry. How remarkable it is to know that so many have watched the same sunset before you. How the wind can carry pollen and drop it somewhere that it has never been. How the leaves have always become the soil that then becomes the leaves again. How maybe we are not so different from the leaves. How maybe we are also always being reborn to be something more than we once were. How maybe that's what waking up each morning is, a reminder that we are born of the same atoms as every plant and bird and mountain and ocean around us.
That reading earlier, I stole from the social justice team meeting. They had that reading at the meeting, and I thought that might work for this service. And one of the things they said at that meeting is pace yourselves, because the things the legislature is about to pull on this state is staggering. So just We got to marathon this, not sprint. I think we're in a unique place in our recovery from the shutdowns. I think we are far enough away to start processing what we went through. I know especially in this culture that we want to move on, we want to stop feeling, we want to just go on to the next chapter. But that is not what the blues asks us to do. It asks us to make art out of it. I think that all of us deep down had something rewired because of that scary time. Maybe it's made time slow down. Maybe it's that we can see how easily everything can be snatched away. But ever since this summer that I was on sabbatical, do you know what I did this morning when I woke up? Well, okay, good, you didn't. I'm going to tell you. I had a spool of candle wick, that I went outside before the sun was even up because I built a hydroponic garden this week and I cut the wicks so that they would soak water up to touch the roots on the new plants that I just put into the thing. I have no idea what I'm doing. This summer I put a garden together, but I didn't realize that the sun moves, and in the winter it's entirely in the shade. But why am I doing this? Me, who has never cared about plants really throughout most of my life, because I think something happened during the pandemic that did something to my brain. I don't know what it is. That pattern I've talked about earlier, that I've seen leaders in this church, I have seen leaders in this church incredibly concerned about their legacy in this church. I think it's because we saw that this church could end. Not all the leaders I asked said that they thought the church would end, but some definitely did when I asked that question. Some said they knew that, so some of them said they thought it would be okay no matter what. And it's true, it's very hard to kill a church. But to have a church that has this level of engagement and this level of staffing and people in the chairs, that was not a guaranteed. And many UU churches right now are losing their buildings or losing their staff or losing their ministers because of the hit that we took. So I asked some of them, they said when they saw the first pledge drive come in after the shutdowns, they knew we would be okay. Some said when we reopened, they knew we would be okay. And some did not feel like we would be okay all the way either until Reverend Chris got here or until we did his installation 10 months ago. So here's my question for those who are brave enough to raise their hand. Let's pick a point in time. I was installed in, let's go backwards. Who thinks the church is going to be okay today? Raise your hand. All right. Online people, everyone raise their hand. Or essentially everyone raise their hand. So think back to a year ago when we installed Reverend Chris. How many of you still thought the church would be okay at that point? Most, but not all, and that might be a visitor quotient. What about when we started reopening and there were only about 10 people in worship? Did you think the church would be okay then? It's lowering. And then who here, well, the point is, there was a point where we did not know that this church was going to exist. So let me pause here to say that, in case it wasn't clear, that I see a pattern of leaders working as if this church were at risk of shutting down. And I see individual desires to leave your mark on this church because, and I am guessing that life feels shorter now than it did a few years ago. I think I am focused on my garden because I see how short life is. And I'm guessing that many of you have had this very uncomfortable realization that a microbe that is fast moving could take it all away from us. The gifts of death for me are plants and excitement and regrowth. Understanding in a new and weird way how fragile life is, I am looking at the world differently. And I want us to keep looking at where we are emotionally with the shutdowns, because it feels like there is a revolution happening right now in our country, and this church is on the losing side of it. I have not been in a meeting this week that did not start with angst, which is a cover for the emotion of worry, which is a cover for the emotion of disappointment and sadness, about something that our new governor or a new legislature has proposed. It could be expanding concealed weapons. It could be offering far greater immunity to police officers engaged in violence towards the public. It could be a desire to remove parole from almost all of those who are in prison in this state. It could be the desire to execute people with new and unreasonably cruel methods. And they have not even begun to touch legislation that is going to target gay, lesbian, transgender, bisexual, anyone who does not conform to the very precise and rigid fake dichotomy that has been around. One of the gifts of death is knowing that not all of the progress is in our hands. Sometimes it feels like we're losing. Sometimes the world ends mid-chapter. In fact, rarely when we die do we get to finish the book. So the spiritual work is how to figure out how to be okay when we're not okay. Does that make sense? All right, let's hear from the scriptures on this.
This reading comes from Matthew, the 25th chapter, the 1st through the 13th verses. Then the kingdom of heaven will be like this. 10 bridesmaids took their lamps and went to meet the bridegroom. 5 of them were foolish, and 5 were wise. When the foolish took their lamps, they took no oil with them. But the wise took flasks of oil with their lamps. As the bridegroom was delayed, all of them became drowsy and slept. But at midnight there was a shout, "Look, here's the bridegroom, come out to meet him." Then all those bridesmaids got up and trimmed their lamps. The foolish said to the wise, "Give us some of your oil, for our lamps are going out." But the wise replied, "No, there will not be enough for you and for us. You'd better go to the dealers and buy some for yourselves." And while they went to buy it, the bridegroom came. And those who were ready went with him into the wedding banquet, and the door was shut. Later, the other bridesmaids came also, saying, "Lord, Lord, open to us." But he replied, "Truly I tell you, I do not know you. Keep awake, therefore, for you know neither the day nor the hour."
Keep your lamps
Trimmed and burning,
Keep your lamps
trimmed and burning,
Keep your lamps
trimmed and burning.
Oh, and see what my God has done. Brother,
Don't you worry,
don't
you worry,
Brother,
don't you worry.
for the work is almost done. Keep your lamps
Trimmed and burning,
Keep your lamps
trimmed and burning,
Keep your lamps
trimmed and burning.
Oh, and see what my God has done. Sister, don't
you worry,
don't
you worry,
Sister, don't
you worry.
for the work is almost done. Keep your lamps
Trimmed and burning,
Keep your lamps
trimmed and burning,
Keep your lamps
trimmed and burning.
Oh, and see what my God has done. keep your lamps. Keep your lamps. Oh, and what God has done.
All right, so I told you I wouldn't introduce the band, but I'm a liar. So I'm just going to say first names. You can clap if you want, but please wait till the end because I'm just going to say them all quickly. Grace, Nicole, Cynthia, Dave, Salvatore, Leslie, Mike, Orion, Coquette, John, and Eli. Did I get everyone? All right, now. How many of you did not understand why I put that reading in there? All right, 3. One of the worship associates, one of the guild members called me yesterday and said, what on earth is going on with this reading? So everyone got it except for 3, or 3 who were brave enough to raise their hand. So I have the biblical literacy of a Unitarian Universalist. Which is to say, I was raised at a time where they didn't talk about the Bible, which is part of the reason you hear it so much from me. But I heard this hymn, or this song, and I thought, well, we should have the context for that. And so I put it in there, and I was like, oh, goodness. What do we do with this? And don't Google it, because all of the websites are useless on interpretation of this. But I did reach out to colleagues, and I found out what is so significant about this, and I actually think it fits. So the parable of the bridesmaids inspired that song. In the story, obviously the bridegroom is Jesus or God or justice or love or the world getting better or, revolution coming, right? And in some translations they say bridesmaids, in some translations they say virgins. Apparently at the time of Jesus, weddings were a huge event. Think like a Mardi Gras or something like that. And not the sort of private or commercial enterprises they are today. The parable came about at a time when women were not considered equal to men, although maybe the Supreme Court could hear something about that. But the fact that Jesus used women in the story, and enough women in what would constitute the start of a new congregation in a synagogue also, by the way. But the fact that he used women was revolutionary, first of all. It's also significant that the women did not share with each other as we expect that they're supposed to do. It actually doesn't say, if you read real technically in there, that women who didn't have enough light weren't able to get into heaven. It just said that others, but that's an exegesis and a sermon for a different day. I'm struck by this because we are ready. We are ready for justice. We are ready for hope, and it hasn't shown up. We're ready for everything to be okay, and the person you love, who you know was going to make it, didn't make it. We are ready. We know who the good guys are and who the bad guys are in Game of Thrones Season 2. For those who don't watch it, it's just another reference to say that not always does the world end the way we think it's going to end, or the day end the way we think it's going to end. Yesterday marks 11 years since you ordained me into the ministry. And this is a hard sentence. This state is not where I expected it to be when you ordained me. Right now, it feels like we are backsliding into something pretty tough. I imagine, and not to sound too hyperbolic about this, but I wonder what it felt like when justice-loving Louisianians saw their state falling into Jim Crow segregation. And I genuinely wonder if we are going through something like that now. We are always waiting for that love and that justice to come. But for many of us, it doesn't come. But you have to keep your lamps trimmed and burning. Yes. Because it is coming. See, that right there is the faith question of the service. That's the God question of this. The challenge of that parable and the disconnection that always happens during Lent. In my 10 years with you, I've officiated or witnessed probably 100 deaths. I could point to you where people who died sat in this sanctuary. And I have stories about each of them. And we Unitarian Universalists love to talk about how we're the ones we've been waiting for and that liberation is only going to happen if it's us who bring it about. But does that mean that everyone who dies has failed? No, it does not. All of the women in that story fell asleep. That might be a metaphor for they have died. But the wise ones, they did their work. They were ready. They loved this world. They fought cynicism. They listened and prioritized those who were marginalized. They did the hard work of loving the hell out of other people. And even though they fell asleep, they were ready when the world was better. So as this legislative session goes on, as the world starts to heat up, as you worry about your own diagnoses or your addiction or your income, know that we are here, know that we are doing this together. And it is okay for you to worry about your legacy or to be bad at gardening or trying to grow things or trying to have something you have control over, even though it's really just pouring water over roots. I hope that the blues encourages us to see the world as it actually is, and then to make art and beauty out of that tragedy. It is okay for us to notice how scary these past few years have been. Also, by the way, I wrote it in here, but I got lost and I didn't say it. Some of us are coping with COVID and the shutdowns and all of the fear that we went through. Some of us are coping with it by gardening. Others who are intentionally ignoring what we went through are coping with it by trying to take away your books and your right to exist. We all need to face what we've been through. And if we face it, we can make the world better because of it. You are here and listening to this music because people were brave enough to face the hardship and the heartache that they were dealing with. And also, it is okay for us to just be enough. If you died tomorrow, it will be enough. And most of us will not die tomorrow, so we have more time to keep doing the work on being better us is, to trust that this world and to keep working to make progress. It is enough for us to love the hell out of as many people as we can. Amen. I invite you to rise. Let's sing. go out this week, know that you are enough, that the world is better because you're here, and it's about to get better. It really is. Go in peace, go in love. Amen.
Get your rocking chair.
Get your chair.
And this is what I want you to do.
Get your chair.
I want you to rock me. Oh, rock me. Rock me, baby. Rock me all night long.
Rock me, baby.
Yeah.
Rock me, baby.
Rock me on, baby. Rock me all night long.
Rock me, baby. Rock me, baby.
I want you to rock me like I ain't got no Lee got me back.